Good morning, everyone. So we are going to be going in and doing our Friday morning meeting for April 3rd. Let me go ahead and share my screen and show you guys what you guys are going to be doing. So today you guys are going to go to Class Dojo, and then you're going to be doing your class schedule for the very last day, which is going to be Friday. So go to your class story, and then you are going to scroll down to the 29th, click on your weekly schedule, and then on Friday. So I see a lot of you guys are attending our Zoom meetings, which is awesome. We will periodically be taking attendance. So hopefully you guys are all logging in. For ELA, you guys have 4 assessments: your selection test, that was the story Once Upon a Baby Brother; your comprehension test, which is going to be teamwork. And then on Spelling City, you're going to take your spelling test and your vocabulary test. Now, all tests must be completed and turned in, okay? Now, all of these other things, we want you guys to do them. Your parents might make you guys do them, but we will not be checking any of this stuff. We're not going to be checking if you read Bully Free Zone. We're not going to be checking if you did your CRC, but we are checking your tests. So please make sure that you guys take your assessments on Friday. If you need some extra time, like over the weekend, you didn't have time to do all these other things and you want to read the stories before you take them, that's totally fine. You know, you can take them over the weekend, but we do want you guys to take the assessments as soon as possible. And they do close after a week. Okay, so let me show you guys where you're going to go. So you guys will go to Connect Ed for your test. And let's see if I can log into maybe Bethany's. And once you log into Connect Ed, you are going to click on the button to do, okay, after you go to Wonders. The 2 assessments that you have, one is going to be your selection test. To do. And then after you click on to do, you're going to click on my tests. And then the first test you're going to see is Once Upon a Baby Brother. Now, Once Upon a Baby Brother is the story that you guys read on Wednesday. Now, if for some reason you don't remember the story, what you can do is you can go back to the story and you can reread it. And you guys are actually allowed to read the story and take the test at the same time. That's totally fine with us, okay? You guys can do both. If you want to review the questions, Ms. Park actually gave you guys the answers yesterday in our Thursday Zoom video, and you can go on YouTube and look back and look at those answers too. So we want you guys all to be getting 100% on this test. So you guys can rewatch that YouTube video. The only thing we ask is that you don't watch the YouTube video while you're taking the test. We say, watch the YouTube video, and then after you're done watching it, then you can take your test. We don't want you doing it at the exact same time. Now, you can reread the story to help you find the answers. And when you're done, you go back to to-do. And then you're going to click on My Tests. And I'm actually going to show you guys the test. So Bethany, I'm going to borrow your account and I'm going to click Take Now. I won't submit it for you, sweetheart. And then once you click Take Now, if it doesn't pop up, it means that your pop-up window is blocked. So then you might need to unblock your pop-up window. You're going to click Start, and then you're going to answer these questions. When you're done, you're going to keep clicking Save and Continue. The reason why you are saving and continuing is so that just in case, let's say that you have to go somewhere and you can't finish your test and you have to exit out, your answers will be saved. So when you log back into Connect Ed, they will save them for you. When you're done, it's going to ask you to submit it. And then you can check back your answers. And let's say you don't remember, what did Lizzie love to do from the time she could talk? You can go back in your story and you can actually read the story again. You can even have the audio play the story for you.
From the day she could talk, Lizzie loved to tell stories.
Ooh, so from the very first sentence, it tells me the answer to this question. So if you're paying attention, then none of you should be getting this question wrong, okay? So that's how you're going to take your selection test. Now, after you take your selection test, you are going to take your comprehension test. Now, we gave you guys those comprehension tests. If you remember, we did Laughing Joy yesterday, and those PDF files are going to be in Dojo. Now, you do not need to print them. The reason why we give them to print for you guys is because at school, we usually give you guys the paper copy so that you guys can highlight and answer these questions before you do it on the computer, because we feel like highlighting helps you guys a lot. So that's why we are giving you access to this PDF document, but this story and the story you're gonna be reading online is the exact same story. So watch. Let me read the first sentence. Carlos saw his friend Jess. And then the second, the look on her face told him in a flash that something was wrong. If I go here, Carlos saw his friend Jess. The look on her face told him in a flash that something was wrong. These are the same exact stories. Now, the questions might be worded a little differently, but then the questions will be asking similar things. I think for the most part, they should be exactly the same. Sometimes the order will be mixed up, so don't always just go do it quickly. You need to reread the questions here to make sure that they match here, but it probably always should. So for example, Mom says the pantry is really running low on food. What does it mean that the pantry is running low? On your computer test, what does it mean that the pantry is, Mom says the pantry is really running low on food. What does it mean that the pantry is running low? So you are going to be answering all of these questions. Please make sure you are following the directions. If it tells you to pick two choices, you need to pick two choices. Like for question number 2. If it's asking you to find the best passage that supports the answer, you need to make sure you're doing that. And if it's asking you to tell you the different phrases and to fill them in, you need to be doing that as well. Make sure you guys are comfortable with dragging and dropping, okay? So that's going to be your selection and comprehension test. The next test that you guys are going to be taking is going to be your spelling and vocabulary test. Now, a lot of you guys have done it from last week, so awesome job. I am going to now go to Spelling City. Once I go to Spelling City, you are going to click Login, and then you need to sign in with Google. You cannot put it down there. You have to click Sign in with Google, and you need to log in with your Google account. So I'm going to actually use Sunny's today. So I'm going to log in with Sunny's account, and since his password's already saved, now you're gonna see these assignments. Now these assignments are gonna be on like this thing, little white box, and it kind of looks like a billboard. As you can see, they're like the little lights that are hovering over it. These are the 2 assignments that are due. Now we give you guys a whole week to do it, but do we want you guys to do it on Fridays? Yes, okay? It's gonna help us the most, and it's gonna help you the most because you've been practicing these skills all week. You are gonna click on your spelling test and take your spelling test. Once you've taken that, it's either gonna disappear or there's gonna be a green check mark, and then you're going to take your vocabulary test. Now remember, I told you guys that you never take these tests in list and games. You only take it when it says it's under assignments. Now, after you take them, sometimes there's these boxes down here that will show. You don't need to take anything down here. We just want you to focus on the assignments here. Now, if you want your parents say, hey, what did you get on your spelling test? You can go to My Records, and you have access to all of your assignments and the scores that you got right here. You can also go to Activity View, and they can see all the times that you have practiced. Okay, so here I noticed that the student hasn't taken many practice tests in the last few days. So Sunny, you might want to actually take a few practice tests before you take your actual assignment, because it shows that you didn't take any of the practice tests. And remember, you guys should be doing the 5 things every day. So please make sure you're doing the 5 things, which includes a practice and spelling test, because you guys are going to need that in order to, you guys will need that in order for you guys to take your tests so that you guys can get the best score. So that's what you're going to do when you guys go to Vocabulary and Spelling City. When you're done with that, you're going to do your math lesson for today. Today's math lesson is going to be 12-5. So again, you will go to the Whitman website. If you have the Pearson account already logged in, then that's fine too. You'll go to Students and then go to Pearson Math Student Sign On. From here, you're going to log into your account, okay? Let's log into Kira's. You're going to click on Envision Math under your teacher's name. And then you will go click on Browse, okay? There's no math test today, okay? You're doing 12-5. So let me click on Topic 12, Lesson 5. And then you will first watch the video, which is going to be that eyeball. So let's go ahead and watch it together. Dividing rectangles into equal parts.
Look at the red square. About how many of these squares do you think will cover this rectangle? Here is one way to count how many squares it will take to cover the rectangle. Here is another way to count how many squares it will take to cover the rectangle. What is the same in both of these ways of counting the squares? The squares used for counting are all the same. How are these two ways of counting different? The squares used to count are arranged differently. Why would the top way be the best way to count the squares? The top way would be the most accurate way. The squares in the bottom rectangle overlap. Count the squares by rows. How many squares are in each row? How many rows are there? There are 4 squares in each row. There are 3 rows. Why does the number sentence below the rectangle make sense for this picture? 4 added 3 times is the same as 12 squares. How is this picture different from the last one? This picture shows the columns of squares in the rectangle. The last picture showed the rows. Why do both counting methods get the same result? In both cases, we are counting the same squares. It is just that they are organized differently.
So after you watch your math video, you can do all of these practice. There's a daily Common Core review that you guys can do. If you have a printer, you can print them out if you want. The practice and reteaching pages are going to be the pages that you guys have in your math workbook, okay? So this is your math workbook. You're doing 12-5 today. And then for some reason you don't have this in the reteaching and the practice, it's also right here. It's the same exact thing, okay? So how many squares cover the rectangle? So you can count each row or each column, and then you can skip count by 3s or 5s, or you can just count each square individually. And then the next one is going to be your practice, which is going to be in your workbook. And then now, since you're at home, you guys don't have access to score tiles unless your parents have some. You can create your own, or you can just draw them in and just make an estimated number. So all of your answers might be a little bit different, but that's okay, okay? And then you also have your center activities and your enrichment. So these are all different things. These are all games that you guys can play. You can play them with, you know, siblings or your parents. So these are all of the different worksheets that you guys have access to help you guys with today's lesson. Now, once you are done with all of this and you feel that you have done your best in understanding, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to classes. Once you've clicked on classes, you are going to click the digital quick check. Now, I noticed that this student has a couple in progress. Now, when you see in progress, that means that they still need to complete it. Now, I noticed that this is actually from last week. Now, this is the practice test, and I know the student took the practice test, and it looks like she even did her assignment. So I'm now gonna click turn in for her. okay? So don't forget that you have to turn in your assignment. So you see this in progress. I hope everyone's paying attention. In progress, we want all of this to go into completed. We don't want this to be in progress or not started. So this is the additional practice. And I'm gonna notice that there's 2 videos. So it looks like she watched the first video. If you want to watch the next video, you totally can, even after you have turned it in. So I am gonna click turn in all, because once I've turned in all of my assignments, guess what happens? It's now 0. There's no more assignments in progress, and the only assignment that she has in not started is going to be the digital quick check. So I want everyone today, your goal is to make sure that there is a 0 by this weekend for not started and in progress, okay? So please make sure you guys are completing all of your assignments. Now, after you take your digital quick check, if you do not get 100% and you have no idea what you're doing and it's really, really hard, then you guys need to message us. You guys can message us via Dojo in your portfolio, or you can ask your parents to message us via Dojo or email. We want to help you guys. We're your teachers. We want to teach you. So if something in that math lesson or that math video doesn't make sense, or you need extra help, please message your teacher, because we're here to teach you guys and we want to help you guys succeed, okay? So next thing. Is going to be enjoy your reading time. Okay, I love how a lot of you guys are showing us what you're reading. That's awesome. Get your heart rate up. Yesterday, Miss Park, I walked 4 miles with my 2 dogs and they were so tired and it was super fun. For science, you guys have your workbook pages. Now in your workbook, this is going to be your science workbook. You guys are going to be doing pages 64 through 66. This is going to be the end of the unit. After this, you guys are done with unit 3, which is Earth's changing landscapes. You guys are going to talk about how can people slow erosion. You're going to be doing the 3-dimensional thinking and the extended activity. Now, once you are done, you have access to all of the pages from 63 all the way to 73, okay? It's 10 pages. It's a STEM module project, and you guys are allowed to do it, but we are not requiring it. Miss Dominguez and I do not have it on your assignments. It's something that if you want to do it, then you can, but you need to ask an adult. Some of these pages ask you to like do some sort of experiment or activity, and we want to make sure that it's okay with your parents, okay? So make sure you ask. After this week, next week, it's gonna look a little different, because all of next week, you guys are actually gonna be studying for your Unit 3 test. And every day, Miss Dominguez and I will be coming on and we will be helping you guys review for that, okay? So make sure you guys are logging in. For writing in a journal or on Google Slides, you're going to be completing your classwork under selfie writing. And I've noticed that I've been going into some of your selfie writings and you're still only writing 1 sentence. You guys need to be writing paragraphs in all of your slides. That's going to be 4 to 6 sentences, just like we did practice yesterday. I had one student, Ethan, who actually turned in a informational writing to me on Google Docs, and it was all about bees, and he added all these cool photos and he found all this information online. His parents allowed him to search this research bees on Google. So please make sure you ask your parents first before you, go on other websites. But it was really awesome. He wrote multiple sentences. He filled up his whole page with writing. So very proud of you, Ethan. And then the last thing, because you do not have the 5 things, and remember, make sure you guys are doing those 5 things every day, is your technology time, okay? So please make sure you guys are doing educational websites for 20 minutes. This is not your free time play. This is a time where you guys are either gonna play Prodigy, Spelling City, Typing Club, Read Theory, Pearson Math Connected, Cosmic Kids, Interland, Mystery Doug, or Brain Pop. There's a lot of other websites out there that is educational. Just ask your parents first before you guys go on them. I think that's pretty much it. I know that we still have a lot of time with you guys. So if you guys want, if you want to stay on, then we can actually even do the science lesson for you guys. How does that sound?
Can they stay on for a minute? Because other kids came on and I want to see who's here in fairness to them.
Oh,
Nathan,
yeah, awesome.
Nathan, I need you to take, all right, you see a picture there of a hill. And what those wattles are is to do what? And we've talked about that, and that is to slow water down and taking the soil away. What I found quite amazing was those items are filled with straw. That would not have been something I would have ever thought they were filled with. All right, the question says, explain why the straw wattles are on the hill. All right, and I'm going to write large. I'll probably do it in ink so you'll be able to see it. They are on the hill, and I'll show you. They are on the hill to prevent erosion. And that is that the soil in this case doesn't leave where it should be because it does do a protection service, and we need that soil. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll read it to you. I'll help you. It says, they are on the hill. You know how to spell they. Are on the hill to prevent erosion. And erosion is right there on your page in the question. I wish there was some way I could make it bigger. I'm sorry. If I could come through the screen, I would. I'll repeat it again for you, so not to worry. They are on the hill to prevent erosion. If we don't do something, then it's going to cause more problems than we had in the beginning if we don't stop erosion. Okay? I see you're writing and you're doing it, and I'm proud of you. And I'm glad to help. I know they left a lot of space there, but it was only one sentence. They are on the hill to prevent erosion. Bethany, I know you have your hand up. Hold on, I'll come back, I promise. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay? Oh, how did you get that to do that? How come I can't do that? I have the book too. Maybe if I did it on a separate sheet of paper would be better. All right. Now, boys and girls, go back to the other page 65. And let's see what great thinking you can do. Miss Park has that up better on a piece of paper. All right. You're all working hard, I can see. All right. On page 65, it says three-dimensional thinking. All right. And remember, we're going to tick back with that farmer here. A farmer is planning a windbreak to protect her crops. Which of the following should she think about when she's making a model? All right, we have to look at A through F. That's quite a lot of choices. All right, A says, how far apart to plant the trees? Okay, that's something to think about. Where to plant the trees? Oh, so where to plant them. The shape of the trees. All right. And D, the size of the trees. Okay. So there's some choices right there. Now, you also could pick E, all of the above, or F, none of the above. All right. So let's go over the answers a little bit more. how far apart to plant the trees? Well, if you plant them too far apart, it's certainly not going to stop the wind, is it? That's not going to work. The wind's going to be able to come through the spaces. All right. Where to plant the trees? Well, that's something to think about. But if you plant them and you make it too far apart, or excuse me, you don't have enough, that's certainly not going to help you. All right. The shape of the trees, that's important. But actuality, it comes down to the size of the trees. If you remember in the video that we saw, like the grass they planted or the little bushes, it didn't have enough strength to hold that wind back. And sometimes that wind can be, just whip right through your whole crop. And then your crops are ruined. So it comes down to D, the size.
Actually, I'm going to interject really quickly, Ms. Dominguez. The answer is actually all of the above.
Sorry. E. I'm so sorry, kid. E. I'm reading it. Wait a minute. It's all of them. The size, the shape, where you plant them, and far apart. I'm sorry. I goofed. Not you kids. So do E. I'm sitting and looking at it. If you plant them too far apart, though, I will say you got to be careful. It just depends on what you come up with. Look at D. I'm sorry, kids. I'm staring at it, and I told you, maybe D or E didn't make me excited. I don't know. All right. And if you notice here on number 2, label each photograph. Write the method used to prevent erosion, then explain how the two methods are similar and different. All right. Now this gets into a little more writing here. What's that first picture would show you would be windbreak. So I'm going to write it right underneath. Show you that they would need, what were those things called? Straw wattles. And I will show you. Okay. You got it? By blocking wind or water. Do you see that on hers? They protect land by blocking wind or water. Help prevent erosion. They protect land by blocking wind or water. Windbreaks block wind, and straw wattles usually block water.
Okay, so for the last page, this can count as your writing for today. So you do not need to do your 20 minutes of writing if you do this with us right now. This will count as your narrative. It is a story. It has a beginning and an end. It has a transition word, and it has 4 to 6 sentences, okay? Today I realized the soil is blowing away from the plants on the south end of the field. I think I will need to plant some medium-sized bushes to block the wind from blowing the soil and the small plants. Then my plants will be safe. I hope my plants will be safe and protected. So that is a story. It has a beginning, it has an end. It's a narrative because there's a problem and there's a solution, and you do use transition words. So this is a narrative, and this will count as your narrative writing for today. If you need more time to write this, you can pause it on the YouTube video later, and you guys can do this as your writing for this week. I think